The work I'm going to present today is about transformational leadership in sport, testing the augmentation effect in sport. This work was published in the Nova Science Publishers and was conducted by the Adaptation, Performance and Human Development Research Group. This group develops investigation into domains, sport and work, and this study concerns the sport domain. Here in this slide we present the research team, and here in this slide the team collaborators. Before starting, I would like to consider some key points that were important for our study. First of all, the assumption that charismatic and transformational theories focus on the observation of individuals with an extraordinary ability to convince others of their capacity to achieve high levels of performance and to adopt new work principles. Second, sport leadership research has been gradually devoting attention to these theories, particularly to the application of transformational leadership in sport contexts. However, although sport leadership research recognizes the importance of transformational leadership, we can find only a few studies about the transformational influence of coaches, and also the way these studies evaluate transformational leadership in sport is limited. Therefore, one of the most used measures of sport leadership, the leadership scale for sports, needs to be revised in order to represent transformational leadership most effectively. So, regarding the importance of transformational leadership, Bass established a relationship between transformational and transactional leadership, assuming that transformational leadership could augment transactional leadership in predicting the effects on follower satisfaction and performance, and this is called the augmentation effect. Empirical studies have since confirmed the augmentation effect in organizational settings, but less evidence exists in sports contexts. In this area, Rovald found support for this effect in the sport domain, but coaches' leadership was assessed without the consideration of these dimensions that better describe the transformational impact of coaches. So in this study, we tested how well the three domains of leadership, transformational, transactional, and decision-making leadership, predicted the athlete's satisfaction with leadership and coach-athlete compatibility. These predictive variables were chosen because they related to the way athletes respond to coaches' leadership and are indicators of the positive or negative experiences they have had with their teams and coaches. And we proposed a new measure of leadership that evaluates more broadly the leadership actions of coaches and hypothesizes that transformational leadership produced an augmentation effect relative to decision-making and transactional leadership. So our sample was constituted by 348 male athletes with ages ranging between 18 and 37 years old. It was composed by 177 athletes that were football players and 171 athletes that were soccer players. Nearly half of the sample were working with their current coach for the first year, and only 76 athletes achieved sport records with their actual coaches at both national and international level. The instruments used were a demographic questionnaire to assess personal and sport variables of the athletes, a multidimensional scale of leadership in sports to evaluate coaches' leadership behaviors, and that this scale includes 9 subscales divided by 3 dimensions: decision-making dimensions, transactional dimensions, and transformational dimensions. With respect to decision-making dimensions, these included active management and passive management. The transactional dimensions included positive and negative feedback, and the transformational dimensions included vision, inspiration, technical instruction, personal respect, and personal support. We also used the Athlete Satisfaction Questionnaire that evaluates 15 factors of athletic satisfaction and addresses important aspects of athletic participation. We used also the coach-athlete compatibility measure that evaluates the compatibility between the coach and the athlete in terms of both professional and personal aspects, namely behaviors, goals, personality, and beliefs. After collecting the data, a hierarchical regression analysis was performed to examine whether domains of leadership perceived by athletes were predictive of satisfaction with leadership and coach-athlete compatibility. The predictor variables in the models were entered in blocks with the following order. In block 1 and 2 were entered the personal and sport variables, namely years of practice in the current coach and sport results achieved with the current coach. In block 3 were entered decision-making dimensions of the MSLS, in block 4 the transactional dimensions, and in block 5 the transformational dimensions of the MSLS. With respect to results, we can see that satisfaction with leadership was predicted by more active management, less passive management, more positive feedback, more vision, technical coaching, and more personal respect assumed by the coaches. The overall model explains 61% of the total variance, and we can see a significant increase in the explained variance when transformational leadership dimensions are introduced in the model, moving from 48% to 61%. Results also indicate that coach-athlete compatibility was predicted by more active management, less passive management, more positive feedback, more technical instruction, and personal respect assumed by the coaches. Also, in this slide we can see, and in this model, we can see a significant increase in the explained variance when transformational leadership dimensions are introduced in the model, moving from 38% to 50% of the explained variance. To conclude, and we can say that with respect to decision-making leadership, satisfaction with leadership and coach-athlete compatibility were predicted by more active management and less passive management. Concerning transactional leadership, satisfaction with leadership and coach-athlete compatibility were predicted by positive feedback. And concerning transformational leadership, technical instruction, personal respect, and vision were the main predictors of satisfaction with leadership. And also, technical instruction and personal respect were the main predictors of coach-athlete compatibility, giving support to the augmentation effect. So, this study indicates the need of considering transformational leadership in sports contexts. And thank you very much for your attention, and if you would like to know more about us, you just visit our website.